Welcome back to the Diorama Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with a 11,000 subscriber special. I want to say thanks to all of the viewers and all the likes and subscribes, comments, especially the comments, and I really enjoy discussing in the comment section below. Now, if you submitted to Facebook and I didn't get back to you, or you sent a message, I'm sorry. I don't really check that much, and I only check it really when I go to get the pictures for this video. So I didn't respond to all of them because they're like months old. So if you want to get a hold of me, it's real easy. Just leave a comment in my most recent video, and I reply to almost 100% of those. I try to, so that's how the best way to get a hold of me. But moving on to this, I just want to say thanks to everybody with this collection video. I've been doing it since 2,000 subscribers special, and I think it gives people an idea on how to display, motivates people to set up displays and to enjoy their collection, but also celebrates the hobby, celebrates the collection all at the same time. So anyway, without further ado, let's get in to look at these great collections. Alright, so let's have a look at these great collections. So we're going to start out with Billy here. We've watched Billy's collection grow. He's done a lot of things and changed it up over the years, so it's starting to look really good. He's doing a lot of different things with it, but nice look, use of space, and I can't pull off putting my stuff in the living area, so kudos to you. So here's one of the displays he's working on, showing that he's doing some lighting and stuff like that, so that's really good there. A few things here. We've got background in there. Looks like it gives a little bit of depth to the whole thing, so I kind of like that. And then suspending the flying objects in there. Now, I've never really been successful with suspending anything, but those look pretty good. It looks like it works out for me. But I tried to suspend a Starscream, and it just didn't look great. But this overall looks pretty good. It works for the space that you have and making it happen. It works really well. All right, this picture here, there's a lot going on in here, and yeah, it's a challenge for lighting when you're taking pictures, when you're doing video. I've been trying to work out lighting, but here it goes with this one here. Interesting mix of stuff that's going on in here, so it's not just one thing or one brand or one, so it's a mix, and you can do that. Use your display, you can do it however you want, and it looks pretty interesting, and I'm thinking that might be the Toy World version of Fort Max. This is a little bit different, something I don't see every day, but we got a sports team in here, we got a basketball team, along with some Transformers behind it, so kind of mixing two things that you like and you collect and you love, all in one space. And this is another way of displaying, so it's all neat and contained in its unit there, so that looks good. It's not like it's spreading all over the place like mine feels like it's just spreading everywhere, so keeping it neat and contained is pretty awesome. I like that. Here's another way he's displaying in this unit here. And with this, one thing I noticed is that it seems like most shelves have, all the way across that shelf is one thing. It's one franchise or it's one type of collectible. So that's a way to do it. The bottom seems like a little bit more of a mixture. But yeah, that's definitely a way to display. It looks pretty nice, and it looks like a lot of attention and detail has gone into this display. I also like the lighting. It's well lit, and all these displays look much better in person, especially with the lights out. Getting some quick close-ups here. So we've got some of the mainline chug kind of display here. And I gotta say, with what Hasbro's doing, you can put together a really nice display, especially with some Teletran 1 in there and some backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. So you can put together a really nice display with all the great characters they've been popping out lately. Now, I think what's going on here is that the combiners in the back have been elevated, so they're standing on something in the back so that you can see more of them instead of just the upper torso for the most part. But they are up higher, I think, and that's kind of how it's going. Anyway, still looks pretty good. Great way to put all this in and incorporate different eras into the same display and make it look great. And a couple of Legends pictures here. So you can do so much with Legends these days because it's just so versatile. There's so much out there, and they're just filling in a lot of gaps really fast. So Legends are definitely a great to display. Looking pretty good. Great job, Billy. I really appreciate you submitting these. All right, moving over to Chris's collection here, and he's got a few updates to what he's got going on, but looks really good. A lot of the figures that we're finally getting, and with the Earthrise and the Studio Series and all that stuff, helps to dial out an even better display and make it look even better. But well, like looking at this, there's a lot of figures in a very confined space, and specifically I'll show you where he stores it, and that's why it's confined to this area. But it looks pretty good because you can see pretty much everything on here. And yeah, it does look really good. And the vast majority of these are actually Masterpiece, and then mixed in a couple of the main lines that the Masterpiece isn't giving us just yet. So overall, though, looks great. It works together, and then a smaller stuff in the front, building to bigger and bigger in the back. And let's see how he actually displays it. Well, I guess the picture didn't show it just right. It's actually on top of a giant speaker, and so it's kind of in a workspace, and that's great. And it's one of those things that I think that displaying something like this in your workspace is a way to maybe influence you or motivate you, or you can draw inspiration from looking at a display or something like this. So that's definitely awesome. I love seeing the workspace kind of stuff because I know that I am inspired by looking at my collection. I'm sure Chris is inspired by his too. And here we go with some good guys over here. Now, we actually have a mixture of a few different things, but including that you've got some actual vintage stuff in there, so that's kind of cool too. And it's always fun to look at some vintage stuff here and there and then mixing it all in. And I think it looks pretty good. It's popping. You know, this kind of reminds me of something that would be actual artwork that you might see on the back of the box or something like that, the way it's set up. Looks pretty good. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for submitting your pictures. Awesome. So getting into Jensen's collection here, and he's got an outstanding collection, and he displays it very well, and it's just awesome the way he does it. And the angles on this, you can't get the whole thing straight on, so that's kind of why we got this angle here to kind of get an idea of how it goes. But looking in some DTOF type cases all the way along, all well lit, and well lit color change lighting and all that great stuff. So it looks amazing, and it photographed really well in ambient light here. Now, we've seen this picture before, but can you see what's different? Well, we're starting to get the new Seekers in, so swapping out the new Seekers is what's different. And I gotta say, when you have them side by side, the new ones do look that much better, just like smoother and cleaner and more tuned. So the older ones kind of have more of a real world look to them, and the newer ones have the tune. But looking at this here, though, it still looks good, and I think they can blend and mesh well, especially if you use risers like he's doing, and so that's pretty good. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is the Hasbro display, part of his display, and at the top we've got Trypticon, and we've got some alt modes, and some legends. So good start, or maybe those are even the core class. They're small ones, legend size-ish. And then getting down into it, we're going to start looking at each individual shelf, or a couple of the shelves individually. But it's set up, it's spread out nice, use of space, and the big ones at the bottom, and then working smaller, and then another big one at the top. So kind of a great way to do it. And yeah, they are in an angle at the bottom there because they're so big and just the size of the shelf. But I still think it works well, and I think it looks great. It displays well. Now, the cool thing about these is Hasbro's giving us more options. We get the sweeps, and we've got... now, I'm not 100% sure if these are just a bunch of scourges and no sweeps in there, just scourges, which is all the same thing anyway. But it looks impressive when you have it like this, like a little army of Transformers. That's pretty awesome, and to display it well, that's outstanding. So you got the kind of the same thing going on with Cyclonus there, and I haven't even seen Galvatron yet, so like, where's Galvatron in this world? So really awesome display, and I look forward to getting a couple of these that I'm missing in my collection. Here is a Prime example of a Prime display here, and so there's not a lot really out for the Prime recently, so I don't know if he's going to flesh this out anymore, or if it's just going to stay simple and elegant just like this. So we've got a mix of Masterpiece and Mainline, I believe, of Cheetor. Maybe this is mostly Masterpiece. Anyway, it looks really good. So the Beast Wars stuff in there, I really like what Takara's done with Beast Wars, and the stuff that they're putting out for the mainline still looks good also. And I think we're going to get way more characters in the mainline, so mixing those together, I don't even think it's that bad to mix them together because they're doing such good work, but the size and the scale of the stuff coming out of mainline still is pretty close to what they did with the Masterpiece. Now this is entirely the Hasbro section for sure, and looks great. I think, you know, the Beast Wars collectors are having a heck of a year this year, and these are some great options that have come out, and it looks good the way it's displayed also, mixed in there. Possibly could do a battle scene with these, but I still like the way this looks because you get to see each character's pose in some way, shape, or form, like something's going on, some sort of action, and I like that in a display. So here's some Legends, and his Legends is growing quickly because Legends is moving quickly. So this is all pedestaled up, staircased up, stepped up, and it looks good. And I like how you have kind of it. To me, it feels like a transition in a way from top is old to the front is the new, but it's still kind of a mix of sizes and scales incorporated in there. So that works really well. It just looks good, elegant, tasteful the way you do it. So great job right there. Kind of the same thing that's going on here with the Legends and the good guys, and this looks really great. I like how they're spaced out, and they're spaced out enough that like each one of them has their personal space there, and you can enjoy each one of them at the same time, enjoy them as an entire whole. So excellent looking. I mean, it's stuff like this. It's displays and pictures like this that make people really want to get into Legends. So you got to be careful when you look at displays that are displaying Legends this well. It makes you really want to deep dive into it. And Dinobots. We got Dinobots. We've got a few other things, some Sharkticons in there. So it's been kind of Legends collectors have been lucky to have Sharkticons for like what feels like a decade now. So anyhow, this it looks well done. Looks good. Looks great. And it gets the age-old discussion. Do you display your Dinobots in bot mode or Dino mode? Because there's no wrong. Thanks. You have an awesome collection. I really appreciate your submissions. All right, so next on the list we have George and his collection right here. And there's one thing I want to say about this is that he wants to incorporate displaying his boxes at the same time, which is something I like too. I like to see boxes and packaging that's just kind of makes it feel like you're, hey, I'm in a store and that kind of stuff. But to display it, and it feels like it's kind of, this is a start, like, hey, I'm starting to set up display and working some things out here. But it does look like it's a great start. And I like a few things about this. So putting them on proper shelving and spacing them out. They all have a lot of space to it. And then kind of getting, where are we going to incorporate boxes with this? So all this is getting worked out here. And I like that. And here we go with another shelf over here. And it's going a different route. It's like boxes on the lower shelves, figures on the top shelves. And then on the very top, more figures in there. So still, there are many ways to display a collection. And I think that trying a few different things out to see what works for you and how you feel about it is a really good way to go. I think that's a good way to go when you're, hey, I'm going to try this out. Nope, let me look at this for a few months. Let me try this out. And it's a great way to do it. But anyway, however you enjoy looking at it, it's a lot of fun. And this seems to be a great area to enjoy your collection. I personally just ended up putting most of my boxes in the attic, sadly. All right, so we've got some other spaces in other areas, George's collection here. Now, here we go with some Masterpiece Transformers looking good. And that does look great right there. And we've got like a Motormaster and a Megatron. We've got a background behind it. So that's always something that adds such an element to it when you have a background behind it and all that kind of stuff. So that really works out really well. And then as you go down, you've got each shelf is going to be something different going on. You got the mini bots on the lower shelf, and then some more stuff going on the bottom right down there. So yeah, above that, we've got an Autobot display, which looks pretty good. You feel like you're in the Teltran 1 there. You're in the Ark and chilling with Teltran 1. But you got, of course, Prime, and then a lot of the Ark cast in there. Looking good. And I think that might be a Toy World platform. Not sure, but having some sort of element on the bottom, that really does add to a display. Having some sort of like an element in there to stand on, instead of just standing on a shelf, makes it look even better. Now getting into this is a walk-in closet that's used for display. And I've seen a lot of walk-in closets display some Star Wars stuff really well, and different dioramas and all that kind of stuff. So there's a mix of what's going on in here, but it's spread out. It's not like it's all just crammed in here and piled in here. It's spread out, tastefully done, and I like that. I do like how it's tastefully done. Here we go with some Transformers on the lower area and the bottom in there. So that looks great. Just kind of all spaced out. And when it comes to Titans, you know, it's tricky in a lot of ways to even display those big giant Titans, because a lot of times they need to go on the floor or on the very top of a display or something like that, because those seems to be either the lower or the top. So anyway, getting into some more of these great pictures. George, thanks for submitting your pictures. A great collection. You are displaying it very tastefully. Looks good. I look forward to seeing as your collection grows. So Jason sent some updates to his diorama, and I gotta admit that he's put a lot of work into this, and it looks really good. And it's one of those things that we all can remember this from the show, and it makes sense how it's set up and all of that. So really liking these kinds of displays. I can't imagine how many hours of time it takes to make one of these this way, but it looks great, and the payoff is outstanding. Here's a slightly different angle of it, so I do like to kind of celebrate these kinds of cool things. Now, we saw it before, but I think it was still under construction, and this type of a display could still be under construction and still look good, because I mean they're destroying everything while they're in there. So, but it looks great. So another angle of it, all that hard work definitely paid off. All right, so we got a couple of other pictures submitted also, and here we go with some combiners with some just masterpiece display, and it looks pretty good. All that in there. I gotta say that it just seems like with the way the lighting is in this and the way this picture was taken, everything seems more like a darker, deeper colors on everything. So that looks really good. And so I think lighting really does affect how your display looks, and it looks good. I just really like how that looks, and it flows. Up top, we see some Autobots. Just a little bit closer look at the Autobot team, what's going on in there, and yeah, that does look good. It's interesting about a few things in this picture before we get closer pictures on the Autobots one, but we got a different Minosaur here, and then down below, and we've got a Shockwave and a Galvatron, and that's kind of one little, like this is one little element, and then above it, so we're trying to kind of go for above it is, I believe, pretty much all movie stuff going on. So I wanted to zoom in on this movie stuff here. And the thing about this movie stuff is that it looks good. And with Unicron, since he'll never be to scale, it's just kind of one of those things you have to subvert expectations on that one. And just enjoy that he's part of the universe in the movie. And it looks good. So when you look at this, you instantly think 1986 movie. And it works out really well. And so with all of these options that you have for the main line in there, for the masterpiece in here, then it really works. So I'm starting to wonder on that blaster though, like that doesn't look like the KFC, so that's why I'm a little confused on the blaster. But aside from the rest of them, I can see it's a mix of different companies to make one cohesive shelf. Yeah, that is the KFC blaster. It's just the it's not the metallic one, it's the standard red one. Looks pretty cool. Nice display. Hey, thank you so much for submitting your pictures. Great looking displays. Great work on those. So next up we have Kevin and Kevin's display here. So here's the overall picture of it, so you can kind of get a good look of what's going on from top to bottom there. And so at the bottom we've got the combiners. They're huge. And then moving on up, smaller. And I think it's kind of cool, like right above the combiners you got some smaller stuff in the alt modes, and then moving up into that you've got bigger ones going higher. So interesting way to set it up. Well lit. Let's look a little closer. We've also got this one here, and it's on the opposite side of the room, and so I'm going to show the whole room in just a second. But it's very tastefully done, and I like that. And it's elegant. It's all in its unit where it belongs. And at the bottom, we got the Unicron and some Junkions there. And then moving on up, we have some ships, and that's great. Some alt mode ships, so it's kind of following the same motif as the other one. Moving up higher than that, we got bots from the 86 movie, and at the top we have the Autobots from the 86 movie. But I think that this display looks so much better when you see it as a whole, and there it is. So when you look at this, it's set up so well, and it just really makes sense. You got the arc in the middle underneath the television and all of that stuff. Very neat and clean and elegant, and the only stuff in there is exactly what needs to be in there, and it's all got its space. It all looks like everything has a purpose. So really, really excellent setup. Okay, over here, now this is another setup and another display, and I don't really have much resolution to this, but it's there's more stuff displayed on another shelf in the back here, so very, very nice. And of course, we got a Scorponok, we got a Trypticon. They have their own table to display them. That's awesome too. Just, it's outstanding. This looks really good. There's some good adulting mixed with some really great collecting and displaying all at the same time. It looks outstanding. But wait, there's more. There's another shelf, and so this one here, is just more stuff displayed well. And I want to admit, this is planned future space at the bottom. I guarantee you, with a defensor, probably a Predaking or something on the way. Just planning for the future. Smart idea. And when you do your displays, that's a great way to go. A couple of things in there just kind of hanging out and chilling and waiting. But this is a nice setup, a nice display. Lighting in it is great, and it's elegant. It looks good, and I like that. So overall, like when you collect all these things, it's definitely, I would put his collection as collecting with a purpose, and planned future space is outstanding. Great takeaways from this. Here's a shot at that shelf that's over to the left a little bit, so that looks pretty good too. And it's a mix of other things. So I feel like everyone that collects Masterpiece Transformers or regular Transformers, they collect something else too, somewhere in there. So we've got some Street Fighter in here, which those figures just look awesome. And of course, some of these other figures from the Mortal Kombat. And I think the earlier ones, look better than kind of what's in the store these days. So yeah, those look great, all of them. Here's a shot at the entire space right there. Outstanding. Just what a wonderful space. What a wonderful setup. Looks excellent. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing your pictures, and keep that collecting going. Next up, we have Mark here, and so Mark says he does build Gundams himself. So I know there's these kits, and you put the kits together to build them, and so here is the shelf, and I know a lot of shelves, it's not easy to get a picture, so just do the best you can with the pictures and all that stuff, because I know you really can't stand at the best angle, but it looks good. You're building your Gundams, and you're spreading them out, you're setting them up on the shelf, displaying them, enjoying them. A lot of work has gone into that shelf, I'm sure. He did want to show this custom version of the Earthrise Prime, and the thing about it is that he painted it with all metallic paint to make it look better. Silver trailer is what it was, and it does look so much better. I mean, could you imagine if we actually had some real paint on mainline items, how good they'd look? I mean, this is an example of how the mainline stuff could look so much better with some paint. Then here we go with some other stuff here. So getting into some displaying, and he's got the alt modes on the top shelf, and that's a way to go. Definitely a way to go, something that you could do, and I like that. The mixture of alt mode and bot mode has always been kind of a struggle for me personally, trying to figure out how to do it, because I know they're Transformers, they're 2-in-1. You don't really want to go 100% bot like I usually do, so looking at this, starting out, he's already got a mix. Mark, thanks for the pictures. I'd love to see more pictures as your collection grows. So we're looking at Ray. Ray has sent in a few pictures, and most of what he does is custom. He's really kind of showcasing what his customs look like, so let's get into this. And right here we're seeing, now I'm guessing you did the custom kit to where you can have your Prime, Power of the Prime to Prime, and your Orion packs at the same time. So you don't have to transform Orion packs and put them in the chest. You take those parts off, put them with a kit, and you have both, best of both worlds. And as far as I know right now, that's the best Orion packs that's out there. There's going to be some argument with some other, like MMC and stuff, but I'm saying the most tune-accurate version of Orion packs is a Hasbro one so far. Here we go with his custom display, and it looks great. I do want to point out a couple of things about this. He made this himself. It looks really good. From this angle, we're going to see a different angle of it that's going to showcase it exactly how it looks just like the cartoon. That's how awesome it is. Okay, here we go, side by side. His custom on the left, and on the right is the cartoon. So a great labor of love right there. It looks really good. I mean, you just know that is spot on, pretty close too. So interesting elements of these that I don't know if you've seen his art and all that other stuff he's done. He's done a lot of other great work. And so this is just another one of those awesome projects. And I'm just curious how long it takes to make this. But really amazing and interesting. You could definitely flesh out a whole display if you do stuff like this. So he's done some customization to his Swindle. It's Swindle. And so with that, it looks pretty good. And trying to make it look more tune accurate and all of this kind of stuff. And I know that the original of this one was not even intended to be 100% tune accurate. So that's kind of why you went the route to make it look more tune accurate. It looks pretty good. Customizing your figures to make them look good, I don't do very well with customizing my own figures, so I leave that up to other people that have more talent than I do. So I think it looks pretty good there, right? And I think he's still working on a few others. And the other one he's working on here is this Lio Kaiser. So I think that's which one it is. So interesting work that you got going on right there. Awesome job. Thanks for showing all these pictures. I look forward to seeing more of your projects coming up. All right, so we've got pictures from Roell here, and this is another great display setup and different elements at work here. First off, you have all of those DTOF style display shelves, and they're spread out evenly with an even amount of space in between each one of them. But at the top, they've another love of cars. Now, I'm not sure if they're the RC cars. I kind of think they might be, or they might be model hand-built. I'm not sure. Don't have any information on them, but it's sharing the space and things that you love in the same area. But it looks really good, really elegant, kind of spread out so well that everything on the shelf has its space, and everything is posed, and everything seems deliberate. And again, future space planned for things that are coming in. Great way to set up displays. All right, so here is another look at kind of a closer look at what's going on here. So kind of grouped with some triple changers in the upper left, and I bet you, yeah, right below that we have the Dinobots, and the Dinobots are all the way across. So although they're different shelving units, the vertical or the horizontal line is what you follow, and it's all set up and grouped. So the top three shelves left to right are Decepticons, and down below we got the Dinobots, and then down below that, and it just kind of keeps flowing like that. So there's some order to it, and it works well without just cramming everything into one shelf. So I think it's better that way. I think it is better to leave that empty space, and it's so tempting to just cram everything in one area, and he didn't do it. And just look at like the Insecticons. Three of them have their own shelf, and I think that looks very tasteful. Same thing carries over to all the way through here, and it's nice to have enough space to say, hey, I'm going to put this Quintesson, and he's going to own this whole shelf. Now, I wonder if he's going to put the other Quintesson in with it and mix them together and have those two on the same shelf. That's a possibility. Some future planning still going on into this. So, but looks really great, really elegant, very well done. And showing the box storage, he does have a couple of different pictures for box storage. This is one of them. And then he's got an entire shelf of box storage right here. So just excellent. Like, I know that I kind of got to the point where I don't even see my boxes. I've tossed them in the attic. And I think that getting to see boxes, packaging and stuff, if you have the ability to display it like that, it's very rewarding. It's enjoyable. Some people throw their boxes out, but I think that keeping the boxes and the artwork and all that stuff, it's rewarding, it's enjoyable, and it's a form of art itself. And to display the artwork in the boxes is a whole lot of fun. Now we got onto this shelf here, and so again, following the same simple and elegant, it looks good. So you've got Unicron up top, and then you've got the Omega Supreme and Devi in the bottom. So that's the HasLab. So where do you put your HasLab, right? Well, you put it right here. So there he is. And it looks great, actually. It looks really good. Simple, elegant, and tasteful. I like it. Thank you so much for sending your pictures in. You have a great, well-displayed collection. So lastly, we're getting into Sam's display here. And this is interesting, the route he's going. Now, this picture is taken with a kind of a panoramic view. It's why it looks curved, but it's not really curved, but it looks great. I like how this is turning out, and we've kind of seen the construction phase of this too, so that's awesome. Now, looking at this, you've got your Unicron, the HasLab in the middle, and then on the left, we've got the 01 Studio Cell, the Zeta version. On the right, you've got that kind of a statuesque Unicron head, which makes sense. All of this makes sense. Looks great for an awesome Unicron shelf. So this is dialing out everything you can do with Unicron. I believe that's the purple potato chilling down there in the middle and all of that. So many different Unicron representations, all of it spaced out, and then utilizing the little tiny characters to show the sheer size of the Planet Eater So that's awesome. That's outstanding. I love the way this is displayed. It's well lit, but I have a feeling this is just like step one in a whole bunch of other displays that are going to be set up just like this. And I pulled an old picture he sent of his shelves that he was building. So there's going to be a whole lot more going on in the future. I look forward to seeing more from Sam. Thanks for submitting it. So I want to say thanks to everybody that submitted these. And again, it's just great that you are celebrating your collections and enjoying it. Hopefully, viewers get ideas from these pictures and ideas how they can display their stuff too. And maybe it motivates people that have their stuff in totes or in boxes to put a shelf up or to do something so they can enjoy their hobby to the fullest instead of keeping it boxed up or not even displaying it. So hopefully that's the outcome from this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and Tiberium Hanger out.